would say I'm from Cache Valley, Utah, Logan, Utah. It's where I went to get my master's degree in psychology at USU, Utah State University. And I'm still here in Cache Valley, so I guess it's as good a place as any. I grew up in different places, but Cache Valley is what I call home. And I had a private practice here in Logan as well for a while. I actually worked for a number of years in substance abuse. I have what's called a SUDC, a substance use disorder counselor background. And what was interesting about that field is that addictions are not really something you can treat medically successfully. There's some understanding of medicine that can apply to treating addictions. But in my training and my own experience, I have 35 years of recovery. And my experience was I changed overnight through a powerful spiritual awakening. Before that time, in my work with addicts and substance abuse, figuring out that there was a reason that people were using. There was a chemical imbalance to begin with. And to be able to correct that was, the challenge was finding how to correct that without something addictive, which really was the field of natural medicine, which was the field of nutrition and amino acid therapy and many of the things that I later learned in Quantum University as well. But I began my studies in what you would call a naturopathic kind of career before it was really even official to find some of these answers. I went on from there to a private practice, and that's where I brought it all together. So that's where I would say that my role in integrative mental health was official, as I identified some of these chemical imbalances in clients, helped them find solutions naturally. Part of what I was doing in my private practice was taking people through this emotional clearing process. I actually now have developed it and refined it and defined it and created something even new that is called 0 point meridian technique. So the 0 point was part of this journey, is understanding what is it that really calms the mind and allows that extra doing to slow enough that meditation's possible. And I just developed this interest in the 0 point field. And so I kept searching for more information on the 0 point field. So all these things started to come together. So a little bit of Buddhism, a little bit of quantum entrainment, a little bit of energy healing, and I was ready for more. I started to explore, what am I gonna do if I go beyond a master's degree? I always thought I was gonna get a PhD in psychology, but I'd heard of Quantum University. So as I started to look at what is Quantum University about, it was about all those things. It was about working with the vital body. It was about 0 point fields. It was about the quantum solution. And it was obvious there was something there that was worth looking into further. I knew from the beginning I wanted to get a doctorate because I'd already had my master's in psychology. My goal was to get through my PhD, get it done, and I did. This was the miracle, was, it could take a while to get all the research and write the paper, but pretty much by shutting my doors and with quarantine, research was done, paper was written, and I was a graduate by September 1st of 2020. And so I had my doctorate in hand, and then it was like, now what? I loved the training part. I loved all the work that I'd done that year up to that point, and decided that's really all I wanted to do. So I actually took my 0 point meridian technique and made it, I got it through an international accreditation process so that the technique itself was accredited. And then I took the quantum wholeness meditation and created a community. And so now I have basically an academy model. So it's pretty much all online. It's, I train people for 4 months to a year to learn, and it depends on how far they want to go with it. So 4 months to a year of training, and students are getting the whole picture of, how does quantum wholeness meditation work? How do we do the healing process from neurochemistry all the way to information fields, and heal ourselves, but also start to heal others. It is very fascinating to combine all that together. It was an amazing experience, and that's really what Quantum University is about the spiritual all the way to the physical. and that as beings, we are all that. And that once we can heal on every level and find the solutions on every level, it all works together, we can truly be healed. You don't hear the word healing in a psychology degree, and maybe not even much in medical degrees, I don't know, but the word healing is kind of reserved. It's not scientific, but it's very real. Someone knows when they've been healed. So the next part of our sessions goes into integrative mental health. And there is a workbook page for this. So I have my master's in psychology. And so I worked as a clinical mental health counselor for many years and specialized in integrative mental health. And that's because I called it that. Nobody gave me that title. I said, I think that's what I am. So I worked on healing the whole person, mind, body, and spirit. And I've authored this book called 4 Bodies, 4 Medicines, which you are going to get an actual full color copy in the chat in just a few minutes. So it is on its way. But in this approach, I blend the Eastern philosophies with the foundation of science. My background includes, like I said, the SUDC. So I did a substance use disorder counselor because I'm also in recovery, as you heard in the little Quantum University video. That was part of my journey. It was a big part of my journey. And so I know that spiritual solutions are life altering, right? But I've also developed the Love Solve method and worked with emotional intelligence. That was the tool that worked for over 1,000 clients. And then it became kind of like they say I am all about books, and tomorrow you're going to hear about one of my favorite authors, but it's the idea that a book can create a movement. And so I did not know this little thing I created and shared with 1,000 clients would become the title of the academy. So the Love Solve Academy is developed from that. And so it's all about starting with emotional intelligence and then going beyond that. So that's what I'm about, and raising frequency. So we're going to define integrative mental health. And I would just be curious if anybody wants to take a stab at it, like put something in the chat, because I'm curious, just like Jackie shared her definition of consciousness. Like, what would you call integrative mental health? I would love to hear from you in the chat. So the title of this is Integrative Mental Health, the Journey to Higher Frequency Solutions. All right. So you've learned about the frequency model, and that's what we're going to delve into right now. We're going to look at how does that frequency model play out in the world of mental health. All right, here we go. So here's my definition. Integrative mental health is a holistic approach to mental well-being that combines conventional psychology with complementary and alternative therapy. It emphasizes treating the whole person, mind, body, and spirit by integrating evidence-based practices with alternative health models, such as functional nutrition. So there's a shout out to Heidi. If you haven't seen her presentation on that, she was one of the first students of the basically the academy, I called it Conscious Community College at the time, and then went in the direction of more functional nutrition. All right, but she shares that. That's an example of solving mental health with nutrition. Meridian-based techniques, so like 0-point meridian that we just learned about, and mindfulness and meditation. So I hope you all will be here to listen to Samantha Akers tomorrow. I just have to share a little bit of a preview. This woman, just walking into a room with her and being in her space will shift your field of consciousness. She is a true Dharma teacher. What that means is she's devoted more than most people devote to the training to be a doctor. And she has devoted it in the pursuit of consciousness, in the pursuit of specifically Buddhist-based philosophies and practices. And so her her consciousness and self-awareness are off the charts. I will go on record saying I believe she is the highest frequency being in Cache Valley. And I don't know if that says much, it's Cache Valley, but she chose to come to Cache Valley. And I feel like I'm so blessed to have her nearby. Okay. And consciousness medicine. And so Carrie is on here and she's going to get into the science, the neurological science of fulfillment and understanding that science and then tying it in with consciousness is where it's all at, right? And there's Jackie on there because she is like, as a former mental health clinician, has found the higher frequency, the next level. Okay. And psycho-spiritual healing. Tamara Lang, thank you for commenting and being part of what we're doing today. And I think Kathy would be here, but she sees so many clients that, she squeezes us in. And our 1,000,000 community is going to be speaking on Friday or Saturday as well. And so the psycho-spiritual healing, so those are your bullet points, y'all, in the workbook. And I'm going to go back and cover them really quick again. So consciousness medicine, mindfulness and meditation, meridian-based techniques, functional nutrition. So these are all bullet points of the definition of integrative mental health. All right. So these are the things I envision being presented and addressed in a journal of integrative mental health. That's what I picture. All right. Oh, okay. So Karen's definition of integrative mental health is healing all 4 bodies of health. Beautiful. Yes. All parts of your being are involved in bringing health into your life. Yes, it's an allness, isn't it? It's a wholeness kind of approach. So that's what we're looking for. Okay, now I want to give honor to those who work with 100 frequency mental illness. Oh my gosh, I get to tell my story. Okay. At the frequency 100, we can be pretty conscious and still drop. I want to tell you that. There is a focus on pathology at that level. There are institutions. There are some debilitating meds. There are, I love that picture that Harley found, the hospital setting. I'm going to tell my story real quick. So I am a survivor of pretty severe mental illness. When I decided to go on and get my master's degree in psychology, I actually spent in that 3 years I was in my psychology degree, I was hospitalized twice and it was in psych wards. And I remember coming out of those psych wards and going to my professor and saying, yeah, the reason I didn't take that final is because I'm bipolar and I got, ended up, having an episode and she worked with me, which was lovely. But so the journey of healing can involve some very dark places. And I am so grateful that there are people that took care of me in my journey in those dark places. And there's some real stories about that. But okay, let me keep going. So the rest of this can go up. And in a 200, so if you have the chart, so this is what we're doing on the workbook, is giving you the opportunity to look at the frequency, the focus, and the modality. Okay, so the modality is how do we heal this? And so the modality for institutions and debilitating meds, that's not necessarily the best, but it is what it is, right? And so the frequency of 200, if the focus is at that point is on maintenance and dependence. And those modalities are getting assistance, being on functional meds. So you can actually do life, but you're dependent on that, or you're dependent on the assistance, like a staying on disability kind of thing. Okay. The frequency of 300, Harley, you found the best pictures. These are amazing. Okay, is a focus of behavior management or talk therapy. We'll include that one, or psychoanalysis, right? So that's where it positions the hero. Okay, so think about this is a 300. The hero is the therapist. The client is the victim, right? And so we use things that are specialties or whatever, but CBT might be one of those that addresses the mind behavior. And it might be more like there might be other techniques, but it's typically done in a setting that, you know, you see them for an hour, then you go home, right? That kind of deal. All right. Then we have the 400 frequency. So that focus is more on personal work and resolution. And in that personal work and resolution, you are taking on the role of your own healing. That's the difference. So at a 300, hero takes care of the victim of, you know, the one who's at the lower frequency. At the 400, you transcend that model. And we do a lot of this work in our frequency school. We talk about how to transcend that 100 to 300 model. That's that when I talked about day one, you have the good guys and the bad guys, you know, and they're not necessarily bad if they're in therapy, but they're stuck. They're, you know, they're in the dark. And so when you move to a 400, you become responsible for your own darkness. You become responsible for your own process. And like in a 12-step program, admitted we were powerless over this, that our lives become unmanageable. You take that look, you do that work, you show up, you go through the spiritual journey. And then something like EFT, you might learn EFT and start using it for yourself to just try to be more responsible for your own emotional state. And you might get a really good technique in therapy like EMDR, where you do start to really heal. And so it doesn't have to be that you do it on your own, but you may go to the next level in your process with that. Okay. At the 500 frequency, I get to bring in my favorite author that I was mentioning. Okay. So the focus in this is your freedom, and you start to become more in service to others. And the modalities in this are the transformational narrative. That's what we're going to learn about tomorrow. That's where Bridget Cook became one of the biggest influencers of my evolving life years ago, by teaching me the power of the transformational narrative, that I became the author of my story, literally writing it. And then you get to see more of the integrative mental health. Then you get to see more things like 0-point meridian that bring you to that complete resolution and freedom. Okay. The 600 frequency is the focus is on transcendence and self-actualization. Some of you might recognize Maslow's hierarchy, and you can kind of see in here, if you look at it, it's interesting how it might look at, isn't that familiar, from the 100 to the 700, right? So if you think about that 100 frequency, that's where you're survival mode. You're like poverty. You're just trying to stay alive. As you evolve in your frequency, then you can start feeling emotionally safe. Then you can start feeling socially safe. Then you can start feeling personally okay, and get to a point where you can really learn and grow, and then experience a life of fulfillment, right? Aesthetic needs, that's very fulfilling. And then you reach that self-actualization, which I loved what Jackie shared about when she did her spiral. And at the top, it's like so much an internal experience. Like your completion is an inner process. And that completion is part of that transcendent potential. That's where it gets really interesting. That's where consciousness becomes the modality to go to that next level. We also do something in a group setting based on intentional group healing. And it is a very much a consciousness-based process. And we also study A Course in Miracles, which I would put at that 600 as part of that transcendent tools for transcendence. Okay. Now we're going to go into a little discussion on the 4 bodies and 4 medicines. I think that was it. Okay. You can get, if you'd like to be in the workflow for this, it's like, you'll get some emails and different things. So this is how I'm going to walk through this, because I feel like then you all have it, which is fun. All right. So this book has been evolving. It is now in our 10 Ways to Balance Your Brain Chemistry, if you like the hard copy version. And we're going to give another one of those away. So make sure you fill out the day 3 survey. All right. So this is what I developed as a result of my training with Quantum University, more or less. is I realized this is like the new model. Okay, I have to share. Oh, so I've had it reprinted. So 2021, 2024. It is for Joanne. I didn't know if you knew you're in the dedication. My friend across the country, a supporter through meditation groups and beyond. Sometimes we just need one other person to believe. Joanne we've already decided, she's not just an old soul. She's not just an ancient soul. She's a primordial soul. And when you meet someone with that much depth, like you belong anywhere with them. Okay, thank you. And all right, a solution story. So I tell a little bit about my history with Quantum University, which was fun. But let's get into the 4 bodies, 4 medicines. I do use this diamond. I've used this diamond for a while, where we look at the physical body, and that could be addressed with regular medicine, nutrition, and body work. Okay, those are all good things. If you're having chronic stress, get a massage. But work with someone like Linda Perks. I think I'll be able to feature her book on Saturday. She just got her book done in her 10th anniversary book version. But she was the massage therapist that took like 6 years with me to get me in my body. And that matters in your holistic well-being. All right. The vital body, which is related to energy medicine and correlates with emotions. The mental body, which is related to the study of psychology and mental health, and the spiritual body, which is associated with quantum medicine and consciousness. Okay, we're going to go through all those. So you don't have to get it all yet. But I love this analogy of the butterfly. So Dr. Paul Drouin talks about Pierre de Chardin, I think. He speaks, he's a French, I don't know, holistic doctor, I think. And so this transformational concept it's like there's an awakening. And so this caterpillar idea is we're not really meant to stay in caterpillar mode in this dimension. Once we start to realize who we really are, we actually had this powerful discussion on this yesterday in our Miracles and Meditation group. We talked about like mind-blowing ideas of like when we realize who we really are. And it says in A Course in Miracles, if you were to understand who you really are, it would be impossible to stay a caterpillar. Think about that, to stay in this body, in this dimensional state, in this frequency. And so we can only get a little bit at a time sometimes, but I think it's really interesting to think about that analogy because they weren't meant to remain fuzzy little slugs inching along. They're designed to transform. They're designed to fly. And their true purpose is to propagate flowers. How does a caterpillar do that? How do you ever find that true purpose? And so like Jackie talked about, don't start vision boarding until you know who you are. Well, how do you know how to propagate flowers that even exist if you're still caterpillar mode, right? So it's just a lot to think about. So can you even imagine your purpose? The caterpillar must surrender who they think they are. So transforming from a caterpillar to a butterfly is like a dimensional shift. The caterpillar is still on the planet, but as a butterfly, it experiences a lighter, more purposeful life, right? Okay. So there is a collective purpose, a flower garden emerging. And Pierre de Chardin spoke of this omega point, a convergence of systems, bringing the potential for peace and planetary unity. The other person who talks about that is, oh gosh, her name just went away. She talks about conscious evolution.
Barbara Max Hubbard.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Okay. So she talks about this like planetary emergence. It's so massive. All right. It's a thing. The more of us who will remember we are flowers instead of weeds or butterflies instead of caterpillars, the more the planet as a whole can become a true home. And that's why I do what I'm doing. Because I believe in that. Can we shift on a global level? Actually choose to be here and feel more at home. Our nature is not naturally comfortable in a dense frequency. So what do? We check out, we numb out, we go into mental health symptoms, right? And that one thing, if you could realize that a lot of the people who are suffering in their mind, it's because they cannot figure out how to become a butterfly, and they know their purpose is out there somewhere and they can't figure out the shift. And then they get medicated. And how does that help? I can't tell you how many clients came to me and sat down in my office and said, the reason I'm here is I want to get off my antidepressants because I know it's not allowing me to be who I'm here to be. And I'm not going to go out there and say, get off your antidepressants. But when someone would come with that goal, it would be my responsibility to walk them through an awakening journey. And I knew that that's why I was here, and I couldn't really do it as an insurance-based model anymore. And so I'm doing what I'm doing now. Okay. So here we are. Physical medicine. So I'm not going to spend much time on this. There's a ton in my book, 10 Ways to Balance Your Brain Chemistry, about this, because the idea, you saw that, I used that chart yesterday to talk about the decline in our physical condition and that we've got to turn it around. But I talk about it through brain chemistry. And so if you're unhappy and uncomfortable, it's probably because you are deficient in some area. And so this will be good for some of you that might want to read this. It gives you a great chart so you can understand which one of the 5 brain chemicals might be out of balance and what your solutions are. And that is integrative mental health. And that's where I started back when I was in my substance abuse field. I started teaching my clients about GABA. I started teaching them about 5-HTP. And this is in the 90s. Like, this was not the thing that people were doing. I got that book, Potatoes Not Prozac, and I started understanding that part of depression could be gluten intolerance. Like, this was in the 90s, guys. Okay, we now know a lot of that, but still, it's not mainstream. All right, so that's physical. Vital body. Now, this is what was so interesting, because I kept trying to figure out the order until I got to Quantum University and I realized the order is naturally embedded in us. Our physical bodies are here and now. Like, you can touch and feel them. You can't put your hair in yesterday. You can't have your fingernails in tomorrow. They're where they are, right? So the vital body carries information from the past within it. Isn't that interesting? But so time will be located in your vital body, but space is still pretty close to your physical body. So that's important to realize. So dimensionally, okay, I'll restate that. Dimensionally, your vital body stays with your physical body. However, it carries information from the past. So your chakras can basically, and your, in different aspects of your vital body can carry stuff that you haven't released. That's why tapping and releasing through the meridians is so powerful. So I talk a little bit more about 0-point meridian here. I give you a little bit of that conscious intervention scale. I share my chart, which we did in that last session. And I give you a little walkthrough with your 𝐸𝐬𝐬𝐷s, okay? It's your 𝐸𝐬𝐬 score. And look at your triggers, okay? You get a little self-awareness assignment. Look at your triggers. And then this technique. And if you asked about the statement, there it is right there. But you'll have to add I am forgiven on there because it didn't have that added to it yet. Okay, that was also from a book. I believe it references the book it was in. Oh, maybe it doesn't. Oh yeah, Shelley Jo Wallstrom's book, From Crazy to Calm. I published it in there, so I at least had 0-point meridian official somewhere. Okay. Now, let's talk about other, and these gives you some alignment statements. So let's talk about what else is in your vital body. Okay, I'm going to have you guys guess. So here's I'm going to do like the little timer. Let's see who else can put what else besides your meridians. So your meridians are tapping points, right? Or you could say what else would fit under energy medicine and the energy body? Like, what's the energy body? And then we can talk about the energy medicine. Okay. So energy body contains, who's got it? Who's got it? I know people know this. I know you know this. If Kathy was here, she'd tell you, because we did a great presentation in November about there's 3 specific areas in the energy body. Chakras, woohoo! Pamela gets a point. Good job. So your chakras, yes, are part of your energy body. There's one more. Meridians are in there, yes. Yes, yes. All right, good job. Joanne got it. Okay, so the auric field is part of that. Now, the auric field extends into the information field, I would say, but people can see the aura stays with the person, typically. All right. And yeah, we got it. Okay, so now let's talk about what are some different types of energy medicine that would support mental health. It could be biofeedback is good. Oh, biofeedback. Okay, I'm going to use that one. Clearing your energy. So Reiki might be. Sound bowl sound therapy. That's interesting. Okay, I like it. Those are cool. So rapid eye could be kind of considered that. So here's the thing, and this was so interesting. We'll have to share this again. So Tamara Lang's on here, but Tamara Lang and I and Vinnie Tolman talked about how do you distinguish the energy field from the information field or the quantum field. The next one is the mental body. Now, the mental body doesn't necessarily stay with you. You can go all over the place in your mind. So what is the solution for the mind? Because, here it is, meditate rather than medicate. So there's a few different things I put in here. Yoga is a really powerful way to stay in your, to basically begin a meditation process, I guess you could say. And then some people really like a meditation that speaks, and gives you something to focus on, like guided imagery. And other people like a quieter type of meditation where you're actually in silence. And so I'm going to introduce a recent student of this. So I'm going to introduce Adam Conti. Is that, did I say it right? And I get to tell his fun bio. We actually created his bio the other day. And the background he has, so he decided to reach out to me because as a student of Quantum University, he was curious about understanding more, and he saw the video from Quantum University. And then he also lives right here in Utah. And I didn't realize how many other things that would connect. And I'm so grateful that he reached out when he did. Adam is an Emmy award-winning videographer. He reached out to me because he wanted to help me with my video stuff. I'm like, yay. He has made an indelible mark in the world of documentary and promotional filmmaking. His acclaimed work, including the PBS documentary If Cities Could Dance, where he served as director of photography and exemplifies his ability to capture the heart of diverse narratives, earning him a prestigious recognition in the industry. Adam's commitment to showcasing Native American culture stands out in his award-winning music video Dream, where he served as director and editor. This piece not only highlights the artistry within the Indigenous community, but also enhances the visibility of Native voices in the arts. In his other projects, such as the Moab Powwow promo videos and the Cultural Fire Events promo, demonstrate his versatility as a producer, editor, and director, seamlessly blending tradition and modern, stunning visual formats. So it's just, I feel really blessed to have met him and to have, really the law of attraction bring us together. So Adam ended up, we're doing a trade, which is like the biggest win-win, right? So he's going to help me with video stuff, and he's been able to receive both frequency school and liberation training, plus 2 sessions of quantum wholeness meditation so far. And I just thought, from someone with this amazing background, I'd like to hear what your feedback is so far.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it's felt like a roller coaster in all the best ways. And what I mean by that is when I first started off looking into this, I had no idea where to go. I had no idea where to go, what to do, who to look for, all that good stuff. And then law of attraction, I somehow found Quantum University, decided, to take the plunge and do that. And then I saw your alumni video. And from there, it's just felt like full force, diving right into it. And it's been an awesome experience. It's been amazing. Like, there are things that I'm learning through the frequency training, liberation training, that I kind of thought were there, but I didn't know were organized already into thoughts and modalities and protocols, and stuff like that. And so it's been an amazing experience. I've been applying a lot to myself because I'm very new to these concepts and still trying to apply it to myself. And because my ultimate goal, just like a lot of us here, is to kind of spread that peace and love and joy throughout the world. And as I learn these things, I always play back scenarios in my life or people that I've met that could benefit from this or could learn from this, or maybe I should introduce it to them, or different things like that. So it's been an awesome experience, and I never knew that even myself had that many levels. And I want to thank Cristine for bringing me in and teaching me all these things, just because for so long you sometimes just want to cruise underneath the radar as far emotionally, right? You're like, I don't want to feel any big emotions. I just want to get through life, work, make money. That's it. you know, and through these liberation trainings, I've had some major breakthroughs. I've had some awesome moments in my own meditation and just different experiences. Karen, who was on earlier, I had a 0 point session with her, and that was an amazing experience. Yeah, 0 point is amazing. 0 point is amazing, where it's so powerful but so simple at the same time. And it does just take that, moment of deciding, am I ready for this? Kind of like the butterfly and the caterpillar to butterfly thing. It's really, really cool. And I don't know. I just feel like it's been an amazing experience, and I hope for as many people as that are ready for this and need this find it.
Yeah. And I think my thing has been, is it just attracting the right people? Or are there certain people that I meant to attract to create something bigger? And so, Adam, I
Yeah.
feel like that's what you're here partly for.
And I'm a big believer in, like, we all have our own circles, right? And so if you can bring, I don't want to say a ringleader, but someone who is a part of different circles into your own, then that could spread so much faster into you know, uh, bigger conferences, making a broader reach, and whatnot. But yeah, thank you. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Yes, I appreciate you. It's just such an energetic exchange, I just, even though we haven't figured it all out yet, it's just, I think we both know this is where we belong. So it's good. So, all right, let's talk more about the quantum, since I love attracting people that are ready for the quantum. The quantum body it's so vast. And so in Quantum University, there's actually two bodies that Amiga Swami refers to. Like, I think it's, oh gosh, I can't remember now. If I go back to it, he talks about like the supra conscious or whatever. And then in other fields of work, there's multiple layers of this, but I'm just putting it all in quantum. And so understanding the quantum nature of things can make sense of that. But understanding the morphogenetic field is so fascinating, because it's part of it is your DNA, your genome, and part of it is like your cultural purpose almost. And so I have things in my morphogenetic field that don't make sense based on my DNA. Like, I'm processing stuff that's not just ancestral. I'm processing stuff for a bigger aspect of the collective. And so when you understand that about who you are, that can be part of your butterfly experience, I guess, right? So, but the quantum shift is that I described that, it takes that creative, which is the vertical, and that consistency, the conditioning as well. And that's a Amit Goswami thing. So he's a quantum doctor that teaches with Quantum University. This is cool. So this is the one time I'm going to probably mention this during this summit, but in your day 3 survey, if you want to know more about this, please mark the box, because this is quantum medicine. This is something that works with consciousness in a form that people get because it's droppers with like information-based formulas. And so I actually got a private label on this. I've used it since 2014 or so. And I've created, now it's like I have a mood support kit. So that's very integrative mental health, is like using information to shift mood and balance and, you know, dopamine, endorphins. There's a whole training on that. And so that can be part of the experience if you want to go that direction. So this is how I conclude. Which medicine? Well, you've learned about 4 kinds. Quantum medicine is next level. It is the process of finding health, healing, and finally wholeness. When we remember our true nature, our quantum self, we can set aside the collections of supplements, accumulation of tools, the frenzy for the next training, the ample fees we have paid for teachers, mentors, and therapists. I don't know if anybody can relate to that. The idea that we are healthy, healed, and whole. We've just forgotten. It can take a reminder, which is often found through a teacher formula class or training. Sometimes it takes a synergistic approach. It can be achieved in an instant. It can take a few weeks, maybe a few months, but at the quantum level, there's amazing efficiency, synchronicity, and community. It's a top-down approach, which leads back to the body, back to the physical. A divine design works that way. There's more solutions than ever. You guys put so many things in the chat. That was fun to see. Animals and plants are depending on us to wake up. The planet as a whole will wake us up if we slumber too long. We will see it in dramatic ways, like forest fires, like global emergencies, like pandemics, and unprecedented weather patterns. It's exciting to be part of where this planet is at right now. We're headed to a better place. Many people are here at this time to support a global morphogenetic shift. The events of 2020 were part of that shift. Consider the quarantine as a giant cocoon for many of us. We hunkered down and got in touch with our inner world. Many of us surrendered everything we knew. The unknown continues to be ever present. Something very interesting happens in a cocoon. The caterpillar is turned to goo. It surrenders completely. It doesn't know what will happen next. The only thing left is information. Bruce Lipton explains that information is coded within what are called imaginal cells. It's those cells in DNA which allows the caterpillar goo to emerge as something inconceivable to the original slug. There's a divine design the creature did not know existed. What do we as a people know, and what don't we know? Our collective consciousness has the potential to emerge. We can choose it. Let's make the next decade the one of the butterfly. That's the potential of integrative mental health, if you take it as far as it could be. And I think there's a reason that there's a mental health pandemic, and it's because we're all being prompted and nudged to wake up. So don't go to sleep. Please stay and awaken with us if you find something here in our community, and we will connect with you for more. That's the conclusion. Now, wasn't that a perfect segue for Carrie? I'm excited.